What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of TheDropPodcast. So I just had that conversation with the girl that I was gonna have that conversation with. 1 second. Excuse me, just for a quick second. Okay, sorry about that. I just had that really awesome conversation with my with Dr. Tamar Kushner, and it was just really incredible. So, conversation started off pretty good. I brought up how I wasn't going to college though, and she's in that world, so I think she wasn't necessarily like against it, but I do think a little bit she was like, why wouldn't she go to college, and here's the benefit of college, and yeah, I mean, just, but she's right, like I have no problem with college, but man, it was such a cool experience. And what's weird is I was nervous a little bit before, but I wasn't nervous during. Like a little bit before, I was kind of like, I felt weird, or I just didn't want to make a fool of myself. And then a little bit in the beginning, I kind of felt like it wasn't going well, and but after a little while, it started to get, like I kind of started to figure out, and I think we started to communicate better and understand each other. And she's really cool. Like she's a very good communicator and just a good talker, and I mean, I just really enjoyed the conversation. I'm really glad that we had that that I had the opportunity. And the other thing is, she remembered me. Like the last time that we had communicated was so long ago. But she remembered me, and it just felt good. So hold on, I'm gonna communicate real quick. It's just exit the main room, head down to the left stairway. I'm trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go. Top right, most a fake king, soldiers. Okay. Number, okay. Statue of Magus just contains. Okay. Don't hit the one on the left unless you want to spawn 2 extra bad bats. So I guess I have to go to. There's some skull switches. Yeah, man, it was just such a really, like, such a beautiful conversation, and I'm just so happy that I got to talk to her, and that she took the time to talk to me. She didn't have to do it, and we talked for an hour and 30 minutes. I was surprised. I was not expecting that, but she, like I said, she was just so cool. She had a lot of information, a lot of like really good information to give. And she's so well studied. The one thing that I kind of feel, maybe she, which I was worried about this beforehand, so it might just be coming from, my mental, where it's coming from. But I found that like, I'm just not sure if she took me like seriously in my pursuit. I know I think she respected me. I don't know. She said that she respects like or like dry or what was it? Like process or something like that. But anyway, I mean, it was just a really good conversation altogether. And by the end of it, like, we got to this point where, I mean, we touched on a lot of different subjects. It was exactly like how I wanted it to be. It was a conversation. It was a conversation that I kind of got to share, pick her brain a little bit. You know what I mean? And then at the same time, like, so one thing that I've been thinking about is like how could I get myself kind of into like a place where I'm learning, right? So yeah, and basically what she advised me to do was to like volunteer somewhere, because that's what she had done a little bit back whenever she was younger. She had done work with children, and I think she was a tutor. She's really interesting. Like she does how to say it? I think she felt different, you know what I mean, growing up, and I think she connected well with just people in general who are willing to connect, you know. She told me, like, at summer camps, like she'd work at summer camps, and a lot of times she would try and bring the kids who didn't necessarily talk, like the weird kids. She kind of brought them out of the box. Well, this is more the end of the conversation, but anyway, she would bring them kind of out of their box and try and get them to feel comfortable, you know. And that's what kind of drove, I guess, her psychology work or interest, just for the fact that she would try and I don't know, maybe understand kids. She said that she always had a good understanding of herself too. I feel like we related in a lot of ways. I don't know, she was really interesting, and she had a lot to say, you know. It was like here's one thing that I just love about people who are just so into their work. It's like you could ask them the smallest question, and it's like they can just lecture about and take these ideas like on this journey, you know. It's like you're taking this small question on this big exploration, you know what I mean. And that's special. I think so. I think that's special. Alright, we're probably about to fight a boss, so I'm gonna heal up. That's good. Yeah, man, I'm just so glad, like, for an hour and 30 minutes, we just had a good conversation. There was no moment where I felt like there was, like, a lull. And a lot of it probably was because of just how talented she, like, how good of a talker she is. Like, she was just so comfortable to talk to, you know. Like, it's weird. You know, I feel like if I think college professor, I think of very self-righteous, you know, type of individual that's so extraordinary and intelligent, and you know what I mean, like too smart for the rest of us. But she was very much she was relaxed, you know what I mean. She was like, she felt chill to talk to communicate with. It wasn't hard, you know what I mean? Like I said, I felt chill. And actually, one thing that she brought up actually was that she never liked, her herself. She never liked whenever, like it would always bother her whenever adults would talk to her on, like, as if she wasn't, how's this? She didn't like whenever adults would talk to her as if she's a child, like, or one thing that she's actually studying, which now I see, now that I say that, I see where I think she has that, where that shows, I'm seeing that. She's a lot of her interest seems to be proving that children are capable, or that's at least what I think I'm starting to see, is that a lot of her work is just, children aren't necessarily, like, they're not dumb, they're aware and they can see things, they're not just these things that are there, they're trying to think, what's an example of some of her stuff, some of her work. Dang it. This isn't going well. I might just let myself die, to be honest. Or maybe if I could kill it right here. Yeah. I have no problem with that. This game is really good, by the way. I just feel like I should slow up. I'm going to give her the sight scope. Heal up a little bit first. Do that. I'll leave her there. So, yeah, I can just see, like where she's coming from, especially as a kid. She also brought up. Well, I don't know if I should bring that up, but I don't know. She said she was always aware. Like I guess something called like meta something. I don't know. But I'm trying to think of some of her research. One thing that she does in regards to like cognitive study is she looks into how come I don't get it doesn't tell me how much health he has. Oh, wait. Give that a bang, give that a smack. I don't know, I lost my train of thought, but anyway, I mean, I don't know, it was a good conversation. But what I'm gonna do, I forgot if I was gonna say this, or if I already did say it, but we were talking, and one thing she had mentioned was, like, if you want to get into some... Oh, that's cool. If you want to get into some form of work, not form of work, but like if you want to gain experience I already said this, didn't I? But whatever. If you want to gain some form of experience, like one thing that you can do that can really help you get there is by doing some work. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if if it's possible that I could get if I could get with my school right by my house. I forget what it's called. Well, I'm not gonna tell you guys what it's called anyway. But anyway, if I could get hooked up there, and then maybe get involved with just tutoring a kid in whatever subject, then maybe I can just pick up on ways that kid kind of learns and thinks about things and stuff like that. So yeah, so I think I'm gonna do that, and then from there, then I can start to kind of dive into like then what maybe could then like what could be a good opportunity as far as I go with diving into my program, because then it's like I'm starting with information, I'm starting with knowledge, and then from my knowledge I'm creating my program based off of the experience and the knowledge, rather than because I think I was going to her trying to get that experience. But not only that, but it was a good practice I think it was a really great practice of doing just putting myself in a situation that I was uncomfortable with. She's a doctor, dude. She has so much experience under her belt that, like, there's no way I just couldn't have, I couldn't keep up. I can follow her ideas. Oh, I think she was a little bit worried in the beginning that that I'm one of the people that, because sometimes, like, the people in class, like, they'll pick up, like, one concept and then run with that concept and tell the world all about that concept as if it's holy gospel truth, you know what I mean? And so I can definitely see that concern. And that's I'm 100% probably that kind of person, you know what I mean? I have a bad habit of I have a really bad habit of doing that thing. Well, actually no, I've definitely gotten better at it. I think my biggest problem is that I get mad at people who do that. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Who cares? But whatever. Yeah, I'm excited to see, like, what happens next. And I think, like, one of my goals was I wanted to build that relationship and that connection. You know what I mean? And so I'm hoping that through this experience, maybe I could dive into I don't know. For a second, I think I was just letting my mouth move and my head wasn't even there. Sometimes I do that, not gonna lie. But oh yeah, so I wanted to build that relationship. So actually, what I think, or at least what I'm hoping that I'm gonna be able to do is don't go, frog. Hold in mind, there's a crane ship for good. Indeed, your resemblance to the queen is uncanny. Okay. I think I really like. Oh, another thing we talked about, and I'll explain this. So, I study Jordan Peterson a lot, and something that Jordan something that Jordan Peterson talks about a lot is stories. You know what I mean? Like that, it's just a big one of his studies. And so, with me thinking about stories, I think I really love these like fantasy king queen type of what is it, Knights of the Round Table type of energy, you know, like this Chrono Trigger type of energy, where there's this guy who's just a regular guy, but he's like a really good swordsman, or he has some type of skill that can like help protect, you know what I mean? And there's this interest that, you know, he's fighting for a good, you know what I mean? Like I love that idea and that concept and that feeling. It's just got like a good energy to it, you know what I mean? Same with I love the anime The Seven Deadly Sins, super good. And that whole energy too, like it's just like a super nonchalant guy. Like Chrono's like super nonchalant. Everyone else is so just laid back and chill, you know what I mean? Like it's just that kind of energy is the type of energy that I think I'm just in love with. And so I guess just like I'm wondering why. Maybe it's because like I see myself as just a more passive type of character, you know what I mean? But I like to think of myself as strong still, you know what I mean? I like to think of myself as someone who's unshaken, kind of like Link. You know, I also find huge interest in The Legend of Zelda. But you know what's interesting though? I didn't at first. Actually, the only reason I really got deep into The Legend of Zelda is mainly because my dad showed it to me, and I just thought it, you know, it was cool because my dad showed it to me, you know. It really had nothing to do with genuine interest in anything related to it, or to that subject of The Legend of Zelda. So actually maybe The Legend of Zelda developed my mentality. Maybe it's because I forced myself to do Legend of Zelda. Because, you know, people say like if you eat a food like 10 times, you eventually start to like it. You know what I mean? You start to like palate it, you know what I mean? And so maybe that's the same for like games, you know what I mean? Like if you just keep shoving yourself into it, maybe eventually you start to like it, you know? So, I don't know. So then I guess like, I guess that could be beneficial. Like you could probably use that by I'm just trying to think, like if you, I mean, oh, so here's what we were talking about and how this relates to like my interest in like Chrono Trigger and Legend of Zelda. So I like the character, you know, of the silent kind of, unshaken hero. You know what I mean? He's just there and he's just doing good simply because that's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? He's just doing the right thing simply because it's the right thing to do. But he's so passive, like he doesn't care. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't get upset. He doesn't take fault. He doesn't take anger with anything. He's just him doing his thing. And I don't know, maybe there's something honorable about that in particular. Because if you think about it, same with James Bond. Like, James Bond is a huge, like, male figure. And at the same time, like a character that we respect a lot, you know? And he's also that silent, quiet, strong, noble character that's just doing what he does for the Majesty, right? So it's like people that take up responsibilities for something greater than them. That, I think that was really well said. I'm proud of that. I think think I'll give that one to me. People that will take up responsibilities. Yeah, that was good. Oh yeah, but how this relates is we were talking about people and how children, because I was trying to pick a brain about like setting, like how can you influence children in the right ways, like how can you kind of help kids to go along a path of leadership and what that means to me, like what is a leader to me and how do I see that, and so it's in that conversation. So it's in that conversation though that like that if you, or scratch that, not in that conversation with the kid is what I was about to say, but rather in working, I think, to try and understand a person. I believe that alright, hold on. Scratch that. Scratch everything I just said. Basically, not trying to make things too complicated. What we were talking about is that is the way that that in that, like, sometimes whenever you're having conversations with I don't know, with children, just children in general, like kids will make like role models, you know what I mean, out of certain people in their life. Like sometimes those role models are like parents, and they might imitate a parent, imitate a parent or a whoever. Maybe one of their uncles. But another thing that she mentioned is that, sometimes we imitate like a TV character, or in my case, maybe a little bit of that, desire is because I'm like playing, it's like one thing that Jordan Peterson talks about is that kids are playing a game, right? So it's kids are playing and imitating these characters or these or just mom. Like if you're playing house, you're acting as if you are a mom, you know what I mean? And so then in that practice said to it is detain him. Wow, this is a cool scene. Hold on, let's just enjoy this. It's really, really interesting. I went to church the other day, or mass, and I think I was gonna tell you guys this, but I forgot. So I went to mass the other day, and I was looking at just like the art, the architecture, and I love the architecture. I can't explain it. I can't describe it. It's just so unique, and beautiful, and that reminds me of it. And the lighting is so cool, and else I noticed this baby. Okay, so this baby was like so energetic, like the baby would be like pushing the boundaries, you know what I mean? And here's another thing, and the baby's not imitating, so this is why it's interesting, because usually we would learn through imitation, right? So someone says something, like one time I heard on this TV show, hold on. The princess then innocently followed you, whereupon you disappeared. I guess I'm supposed to be reading this. Dang it, I lost my train of thought. I should have just kept going. This is really cool. You ignored me. That is so funny. This is like the perfect scene of like a court, like the problem with court cases. Like the chancellor is just using anything and everything to did I say just a bit? He's using like anything and everything that he possibly can to go against this guy, or you know what I mean? What do you say? So that man grabbed the pendant even before he checked to see if the princess was okay. See, it's such a misinformation, you know what I mean? Like, all these things did happen, but whatever, man. Should we skip this, honestly? Should we skip this? You know what's cool about this, about what's going on? It's like everything that happened, like that seems like such a random detail that it wouldn't let me just walk away. But now I realize that that it was important to the story. You know what I mean? That's like clever. I'm still working on telling my story, by the way, on how I'm gonna do my story. I like, dude, these characters in the front have their hair slicked back like greasers. Like greasers, and this is supposed to be year 1000. I've been listening to this history podcast on Japan, and it's really, 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 really fascinating. Vertigo has been reached. I forgot what reminded me of that. Maybe it was just like the king in this setup, but take him away. What? Princess. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Was free to behave like a princess. Even royalty must obey rules. Ah, dang. I used to, back when I was a kid, I used to call myself Chrono 64. I had like this little name for it too. I didn't ever even play the game. I just thought it looked cool, and I was actually a huge fan of Dragon Ball Z. Actually, you know why? You know where I think I heard this from? My cousin. Oh, here's something interesting. So I imitated my cousin a lot. Like I thought it was really cool. But the thing is, like, I imitated what I thought he was like. You know what I mean? Because like he would say like a few things and it'd be like a joke. Or I noticed like how confident he was, and so that's how I kind of practiced being him. I practiced being him by trying to be like that cool character. You know what I mean? And eventually that just kind of like messed me up in throughout middle school. You know what I mean? Just trying to be this person. You know. Like, it does make me wonder, like, what would I be like if I had not been, if I hadn't just been, that's cool. If I hadn't tried to do that, you know what I mean? I don't even know how I was supposed to do that. I just kind of guessed. Or maybe I wasn't supposed to do that. Hey. Oh shoot, okay. I gotta go. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Drop Podcast. This is the podcast where we play games and hang out as usual. Well, I hope you guys had a good time. I know I'm already having a good time, and like I said, I love this type of thing, this type of setup. But anyway, so I'll have to check you guys next time, and we'll definitely continue this conversation of you know just the way that I kind of perceive the things I perceive, yeah, it'll be a good conversation. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you want to support the podcast, you can go to my then you can visit my what is it my website, joshuatbryan.com, and on that website you can find a place where you can donate, and that's just if you want to. I don't care. Something else you can do if you really want to is simply by sharing the podcast. That helps out a lot, or maybe even leaving a review. That'd be great too. But anyway, so thanks a lot, and I will check you guys next time. See ya.